FCA thinking about Bitcoin?
Well, just like law enforcement, I guess, we are excited as well because, as people may have thought Bitcoin was anonymous. It's not truly anonymous. There's a lot of work that we do with law enforcement, obviously, to try to track illicit crypto payments by bad actors, whether they're drug cartels or terrorist groups, outlaw regimes use cryptocurrency, but they used other tools as well, right? They used toner cartridges for their printers, right? It doesn't mean, we say we should ban all of those, right? Bitcoin is here to stay. Cryptocurrency is here to stay.
Well, good to finally hear him admit it anyway. That was Michael Jalis. He's the Deputy Director of the CIA. So, they've said for so long about one of the problems with Bitcoin, and probably goes back a little bit to Silk Road, right? But one of the problems to Bitcoin is the underworld are using it. They're using it for money laundering, all these other things that cash is being used for centuries, like it's as long as it's been around. So there's no difference in that. But it's good to hear the CIA finally come out and say, like, Bitcoin's not going anywhere. We've got a great show for you today. Got a couple more news stories. We're going to jump into the indicators, have a look at what's happening in the market. So one of the things we know everyone's been discussing lately is around the Bitcoin reserve, whether it be the states, which now have, I think it's 27 states have actually been talking about passing legislation within the states around a Bitcoin reserve. The latest being we've had Arizona, we've had North Carolina, we've had Texas, I think New Mexico looking at, like, there's 27, there's 5 of them that have turned it down. So that's like Wyoming, Montana, North and South Dakota, and Pennsylvania, I think, are 5 that have turned it down. But a lot of them are looking at it. But this Bitcoin reserve that I'm talking about is obviously the United States Bitcoin reserve. So we have Sebastian Bay from Coinbase. Let's hear what he has to say in this interview.
People either can't hear them or don't want to hear them, but they got to listen to this one. So what has the government told you, the U.S. government? They have said they have these assets, they're going to monetize them one way or the other. But gold is different, we think. You really have to understand how they might revalue gold and buy Bitcoin and yet be budget neutral. So let me walk you through it very quickly. So today, because of law, the U.S. government still values gold at $42 and change. If they were to just mark that to market, so it's worth probably an incremental $900 billion to $1 trillion. We believe it's most likely they will go and change it such that they will revalue gold to current market pricing. That would create a mark-to-market gain of $900 billion. When the revaluation occurs, that creates a $900 billion, given today's market price, mark-to-market gain, which then is money, and then the Treasury would be able to use that money in the Sovereign Wealth Fund in a budget-neutral manner to go and buy a variety of things, we think probably including Bitcoin.
Okay, so interesting, right? 900 billion, potentially 100 billion of that, bit less than a tenth, going into Bitcoin reserve. That would be big, and that's the sort of stuff that's happening, and it's on the radar. The states, the USA revaluing gold, potentially putting some into a Bitcoin reserve. Those sorts of things and that sort of news is what's making it really, really hard not to be bullish as we head into the back end of this year. Like, some people definitely think we've had the bull market. I'm not of that view. Not with the news that's coming out, not with the things we still have to look forward to. 27 of the states are currently going through the process of putting through legislation for Bitcoin reserves at the state level. There's 5 that aren't, that have already voted it down. That's Wyoming, Montana, North and South Dakota, and Pennsylvania, I think it is. But otherwise, you've got 27 of them that are already working through legislation. We've had Arizona lately, we've had North Carolina, we've had Texas. Like, Arizona's just waiting really for the governor to sign off on it. Provided it's not vetoed, that's going to go through. That was $3 billion, I think, 10% of 31 whatever billion they had. So look, there's a lot of positive things and a lot to look forward to at the moment. Now, if you like statistics, I found this one quite interesting. Thought I'd share it with you. Okay, well, here's a stat for you. 52.7% of cryptocurrencies have died since 2021. 52.7%. Let that sink in. I mean, and there's a lot more that are going to. Let's be honest. They're like most of the tokens out there will go to zero. Let's be honest with ourselves. They don't all have utility. They're not all going to be around, even the ones that do have utility. But 52.7 since 2021. I actually wouldn't have been surprised, to be honest, if it was higher. When you think about all of the cryptocurrency projects that have come out of the woodwork, some of them are just Ponzi's straight off the get-go. So that does not surprise me at all. Okay, so let's jump straight into the key indicators for today. So we've got the dominance is up again slightly, 61.4 from 61.3. We've had a drop in the Coinbase ranking. Fear and greed is sitting at 53 today, so down slightly on yesterday when it was 56, 57. We've got a total market cap of 3 trillion. So that's up slightly on yesterday. The volume's up to 104 billion today. The monthly returns, it's only the first day of the month, so it's not really too important, and it's pretty much flat. If we do go and have a look, though, at the actual chart, so we can sort of look at last month, we can see April came in, according to this chart, at 11.65 favourable. So we did have a favourable April. Where we'll land in May, who knows at this point. But we did finish off favourable for April, which is really, really good news to have that positive month after a couple of negative months. We then look at the other indicators. We can see, again, there's some slight movement in the MVR-VZ score. It's moved up a little, and the pure multiplier has moved down slightly, whereas the other three have remained flat for the day. Again, a mixed bag in the top 5 tokens, excluding stables, with a little bit of red, a little bit of green in that area. Bitcoin up slightly, Ethereum up slightly. Then you have XRP and Binance down, with Solana up slightly as well. We've also had a drop in the net ETF flows for the 30th of April. They're down to 192 million. Let's move on to the top 100 tokens. So we can also see trending. We've got Fartcoin. Alpaca dropped. So if you remember yesterday, it was on top of the trending and the top gainers, but that's dropped slightly today, or more than slightly, 37.5. So again, we see that, right? We see that quite a bit, where tokens will have a breakout day and the next day we see the pullback. If we look at the top 100, Bitcoin is pretty flat at 95k. As we know, it's been sitting around that 95, 94k for a while now. Ethereum's at 0.2 for the 24 hours. Let's see if there's any material or decent size moves. Hyperliquid, so that's 8.1. So that's reasonable. Pi is up 4.1. Those people that were mining Pi and got their distribution will be happy with that. FET is up 4.4. 22% on the last 7 days is still quite reasonable. What else we got here? There's Fartcoin, as I mentioned earlier. I feel like it's definitely been the meme running over the last week the most. Virtual's Protocol, that's had a big move. That's 21.5% for the day, 135.1 for the week. So that's a decent move. Curve is 8.4%. And then, of course, another way to see this is in the bubbles, which gives you sort of all right in front of you. So Virtual, the metaverse, is as we saw, 21.3. You got a Hyperliquid, Layer 1, that's at 7.9. Fartcoin, the meme, 10.4. Cassie's showing a little bit of green. What is that in price, though? So it's come back up into the 9s. You know, most holders would have been hoping it would hold that 10. But the whole market's dropped. So, again, not unusual, but good to see it moving in the right direction. We've got Curve, which is a governance token for the Curve network. You've got Pi up there, we mentioned. That WorldCoin's coming back. And what else? We got Tau, WIF, and FET. If we look at the 100 to 200, what have we got going on here? So you got Baby. That's a layer 1 that's built using Cosmos, I believe. I think the use case for it is BTC staking. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it was for. You got a cash network again. That's the cloud computing. Beam, which just powers the Beam ecosystem. Turbos pulling back a little bit. Again, the whole market has had a bit of a pullback. So let's not jump at shadows. Okay, there was another interesting thing I wanted to go through with you guys as well. So here's an example of one of the areas where you can get some information. Like, so Cointelegraph, they have the events section. So if you're looking for what's coming up, you can see the token 2049 there, which is yesterday and today, and that's all over X, right? CZ speaking with Rail, things like that. You'll see it all over X if you're on X. But it goes through, you got Vegas coming up, that's in May, that's Bitcoin 2025. This token 2049 as well. They have one in, I think it might be Singapore, in September as well. So this is only sort of relatively new, the Dubai one. You got Sui Basecamp coming up. So yeah, it's a good spot if you want to know what's coming up through the year or when different events are. You can just come in here and you'll get that information. And on that note, let's leave it there for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to hit the like, hit subscribe. Check out the Block to Basics series as well. If you're new to crypto, there's some good information in there for you. And I'll see you tomorrow.